Have you ever been locked in a heated debate? Heart pounding, words flying like daggers, only to wish for that one razor-sharp line that could slice through the chaos and leave everyone stunned into silence? Not a scream that echoes off the walls, not a barb that draws blood, but a whisper of pure, unshakable intellect that makes the room hold its breath. Picture this. The tension thick as fog, accusations bouncing back and forth. And then, you drop it. One sentence. Their eyes widen. Their arguments crumble like dry leaves. And suddenly, the spotlight shifts. They're not just quiet, they're captivated, rethinking everything. If that moment sounds like the superpower you've been craving, buckle up, because today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 5 devastatingly powerful responses that can hush even the noisiest storm. These aren't tricks or manipulations, they're elegant shields and swords forged from clarity and composure. Whether you're facing down a steamrolling boss in a high-stakes meeting, navigating a family dinner turned battlefield, or staring down a know-it-all trying to bulldoze your boundaries, these lines will not only defend your ground but elevate you to the throne of the conversation. You'll stay cool as ice, command respect without a flicker of rage, and walk away knowing you've just rewritten the rules of engagement. But here's the real magic. Stick with me all the way to the end. Number 3? Oh, it's a game changer. A subtle grenade that can dismantle the slickest manipulator before they even see it coming. You'll be itching to test these out in real life. And trust me, once you do, that sweet, satisfying silence will become your new favorite sound. Why? Because we've all been there, haven't we? That gut-wrenching frustration bubbling up like lava. You're laying out your point, logical, airtight, straight from the heart, and it's like shouting into a void. The other person? They're not hearing a word. Instead, they're steamrolling ahead, their voice climbing octaves, interruptions slicing in like knives, aggression radiating like heat from a bonfire. It's infuriating, right? In a world where winning an argument often means out-yelling the opposition. Where volume masquerades as validity and intimidation poses as influence. It's easy to feel cornered. Our culture glorifies the loudmouth, the one who pounds the table and demands submission, equating brute force with backbone. But let's pause and paint a different picture. True respect isn't born from fear. It's cultivated in the quiet soil of genuine understanding. And real power? It doesn't roar, it resonates. It slips under the skin, lingers in the mind, and compels without coercion. These 5 responses are your toolkit for that shift, from reactive scramble to masterful poise. They'll transform you from participant to conductor, turning cacophony into harmony with nothing more than your words. Let's dive right in, starting with the foundation. Response 1. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. The classic escalator, the one who believes decibels are dollars, cranking up the volume as if sheer noise could mint authority out of thin air. You know the scene. A boardroom buzzing with tension, voices overlapping like crashing waves. Or maybe it's that tense family huddle around the dinner table, silverware clinking like warning bells as tempers flare. They lunge forward, words tumbling out in a torrent, interruptions firing like bullets, their face flushed with the thrill of domination. It's a trap, a siren call to match their frenzy, to dive into the mud and wrestle for the upper hand. But here's the truth. The second you raise your tone to meet theirs, you've handed them the reins. You've surrendered the high ground. Enter this response, delivered not as a shout, but as a serene anchor dropped into turbulent waters. Picture yourself leaning back slightly, eyes steady, voice smooth as polished stone. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. Boom. The air shifts. Their bluster hits an invisible wall, ricocheting back at them like an echo in an empty canyon. It's not defensive, it's declarative, a gentle reminder that your truth doesn't need amplification because it stands tall on its own merits. In that suspended moment, something profound happens. The aggressor falters, their momentum snagged on the hook of your unflappable calm. They glance around, suddenly aware of the audience, colleagues exchanging subtle nods, family members leaning in with newfound curiosity. You've flipped the script. No longer are you entangled in their emotional whirlwind. You're the eye of the storm, radiating control. This isn't just a clever quip, it's a nod to the ancient wisdom of the Stoics. Those philosophers who knew that true might lies in mastery of the self. Epictetus, that former slave turned sage, nailed it when he warned, "He who cannot command his tongue will soon have no master but his emotions." You're embodying that right there, your logic a lighthouse cutting through the fog of fury. Your confidence a quiet force that doesn't demand but draws obedience. And the ripple effect? It's electric. The shouter doesn't just pipe down, they start to listen, probing your words for the strength they lack. Those watching? They see it too. The way serenity outshines spectacle. Poise trumps pandemonium. You've not only silenced the roar but illuminated the path to real dialogue. Imagine wielding this in your next clash. The boss mid-rant. The relative on a tirade. Say it once, and watch the dynamic invert. Power reclaimed, respect restored, and you, still as cool as the first sip of morning coffee. Now, let's build on that momentum with response 2. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. Oh, this one's a mirror held up at just the right angle, the kind that reflects not accusation, but undeniable insight. Think about those encounters where the conversation veers into personal territory. Not because of what you're saying, but how they're twisting it. They're lashing out, words laced with venom or sarcasm, aiming to provoke a crack in your armor. Maybe it's a coworker sniping during a feedback session, their tone dripping disdain like acid rain. Or a friend in a heated text exchange, emojis forgotten as barbs fly unchecked. They're not debating ideas anymore, they're dissecting you, projecting their insecurities onto your canvas, hoping you'll paint back with equal fury. But what if, instead of firing retaliatory shots, you hold up that mirror? Deliver it with a soft tilt of the head, a knowing half smile playing at your lips. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. It's like flipping a switch in a darkened room. Suddenly, the spotlight swings their way. Their attack, once a weapon, becomes a window into their own turmoil. Why the edge in your voice? The rush to judge? It's not about my words. They realize with a jolt, it's about the storm brewing inside you. You've sidestepped the trap entirely, refusing to engage on their battlefield of blame. Instead, you've invited introspection, a gentle nudge toward self-awareness that disarms without a single raised fist. Envision the scene unfolding. Their cheeks flush, not from anger now, but from the sting of recognition. The room quiets as the weight of your words settles, like dust after a gust. Colleagues shift in their seats, sensing the pivot from confrontation to revelation. Family members exchange glances, the air thawing from frost to something almost reflective. This response echoes the timeless art of deflection, reminiscent of how great leaders like Nelson Mandela turned barbs into bridges. Absorbing hostility not to absorb it, but to redirect its energy. It's a psychological jujitsu move, using their force against them, not to harm, but to heal the rift. And the beauty? It keeps you untouchable, while they grapple with the echo of their own tone. You're free to steer back to substance. Your poise intact, your position elevated. But don't stop there. Let's layer in why this works so profoundly. In the heat of discord, we all crave validation, an echo chamber for our frustrations. When you offer this line, you're denying them that echo, replacing it with a clearer reflection. It prompts that rare pause. What am I really saying here? Am I fighting facts, or fleeing my fears? In my years scripting these kinds of breakthroughs for creators like you, I've seen it time and again. This phrase doesn't just hush the noise, it plants a seed of growth. The aggressor might bristle at first, but later, alone with their thoughts, it lingers. And you've modeled maturity, turning a potential scar into a story of strength. As we edge closer to that powerhouse number 3, remember, these aren't road lines to memorize like flashcards. They're sparks to ignite your authentic voice, tools to polish your presence. Feel the frustration of past battles fading? Good, because the best is yet to come. What if the next interruption didn't derail you, but redefined the entire exchange? Hang tight. We're just warming up the engines for the responses that will leave them not just silent, but seeking your wisdom. Transitioning seamlessly into response 3. That's an interesting perspective. Tell me more about why you feel that way. Wait, disarm with curiosity? In a world primed for combat, this might sound counterintuitive, like offering tea to a charging bull. But here's the vivid twist. Imagine the manipulator at their oiliest. weaving words like a spider spinning silk, subtle guilt trips, half-truths laced with flattery, all designed to corner you into concession. They're the colleague who sighs dramatically before dropping a suggestion that's really a demand. Or the partner who frames their complaint as you're failing, eyes wide with feigned innocence. Your instinct screams to counterpunch, to unravel their web with facts and fire. Yet, in that charged instant, you lean in, not with crossed arms, but open palms, and say, "That's an interesting perspective. Tell me more about why you feel that way." Watch the silk snag. Their script falters. They've prepared for battle, not a bridge. Suddenly, the floor is theirs, but it's quicksand. Every elaboration exposes the cracks in their facade. Why the urgency? What's fueling this angle? As they stumble through explanations, you nod thoughtfully, a silent sentinel absorbing without absorbing the bait. It's mesmerizing. Their aggression morphs into vulnerability, the room's energy inverting like a tide turning at dawn. This isn't passive, it's profoundly active. By inviting depth, you're flipping the power dynamic from adversarial to exploratory, echoing the Socratic method where questions unearth truth like roots breaking stone. Epictetus would approve. It's control through curiosity, not conquest. Picture the aftermath. The manipulator, mid-unravel, trails off, their bluster deflated like a punctured balloon. Onlookers lean forward, drawn to your gravitational calm. You've not only silenced the scheme but surfaced the soul beneath it, fostering connection where conflict once reigned. In practice, use it sparingly, with genuine intrigue in your tone. Let your eyes sparkle with interest. The result? They disarm themselves, handing you the conversation's reins on a silver platter. And oh, the layers here run deep. This response thrives because humans are wired for stories. Yours, mine, theirs. When you probe gently, you humanize the foe, transforming enemy into echo. I've crafted scripts where creators deploy this in vlogs, turning viewer comment wars into community dialogues, racking up shares like wildfire. It's addictive. That moment when silence falls not from defeat, but dawning understanding. Feel the shift yet? Your confidence swelling as you envision deploying it next time a silver-tongued serpent slithers your way? Press on to response 4. I appreciate your passion. But let's circle back to what we're really discussing. Passion. That double-edged sword that can ignite ideas or incinerate them. Envision the enthusiast gone overboard, the friend whose helpful advice spirals into a sermon. Voice rising like a crescendo in an opera, derailing the chat into tangents of their own making. Or the team member in a brainstorm, steamrolling with fervor, their energy a wildfire consuming oxygen for anyone else's input. It's admirable at first, the spark, the drive, but unchecked, it smothers, leaving you gasping for air in the smoke. Step forward with this bomb. I appreciate your passion. But let's circle back to what we're really discussing. Said with a warm nod, a subtle hand gesture redirecting like a gentle breeze. It acknowledges without capitulating. Their fire? Validated, not quenched. But the reins? Firmly yours. It's a dance move in verbal tango, honoring their step while leading the next. The room exhales. Tension uncoils as you lasso the conversation back to center. Like reeling in a kite from turbulent skies. Why does it land like a velvet hammer? Because it validates emotion without validating evasion. A nod to emotional intelligence gurus like Daniel Goleman, who preach empathy as the ultimate disarmer. In that breath, the passionate one pauses, recalibrates, perhaps even thanks you for the nudge. Bystanders? They clock your finesse, the way you weave inclusion into authority. Deploy it in your next heated pitch or casual clash, and feel the gratitude ripple back. You've tamed the tempest, emerging not as suppressor, but sage. Finally, response 5. I hear you. And here's where I stand, respectfully. We may not align on this. The grand finale, the boundary setter supreme. Imagine the impasse. Opinions clashing like thunderheads. Neither yielding. The air electric with unspoken standoffs. They're digging in. You feel the pull to persuade or pummel. But exhaustion whispers retreat. No, rise instead. I hear you. And here's where I stand, respectfully. We may not align on this. Delivered with steady gaze, shoulders squared like ancient oaks. It's a flag planted in fertile ground, unwavering, yet open to the wind. This isn't concession, it's coronation of self. You've honored their voice, staked your claim, and bowed to the possibility of divergence without disdain. The silence that follows? Golden, pregnant with possibility. They nod, perhaps soften. The dialogue endures. Not as duel but duet. It's the Stoic ideal incarnate, acceptance without agreement. Control through clarity. In my editing arsenal, this one's a viewer magnet. Relatable, repeatable, revolutionary. Practice it in the mirror. Feel the empowerment surge. You've silenced not with shutdown, but with sovereignty. There you have it, 5 responses. Each a key to unlocking conversational command. From hushing the hollerer to mirroring the malcontent. Disarming the deceiver, redirecting the zealot, and honoring the divide. They're yours now, ready to deploy. Which one's calling to you first? Hit the comments, share your trial run, and subscribe for more scripts that turn talks into triumphs. You've got the power, now go make some silence sing. Building on that mirror of a response, the one that turns their sharp tongue back on themselves without a single scratch to your armor. Let's peel back the layers of why it lands like a thunderclap in a library. When someone launches into sarcasm, mockery, or that icy drip of contempt, oh, it's a siren song, isn't it? That primal itch to fire back, to match their venom with your own blaze, trading barbs until the whole exchange is scorched earth. But here's the plot twist in this conversational thriller. That's exactly where the trap snaps shut. And so many of us tumble right in, emerging bruised and bitter, our dignity dangling by a thread. Enter this phrase again, like a flawless pane of glass in a funhouse of fury. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. No counterpunch, no frantic shield raising in desperation, it's a serene reflection, capturing their glare and tossing it gently back. Picture the scene. You're mid-chat at a coffee-fueled catch-up with a friend who's suddenly turned critic. Their words laced with that mocking curl, like smoke from a poorly aimed dart. Your pulse quickens, the old reflex kicking in to sling something savage right back. But you pause, lock eyes with the calm of a summer lake, and let it slip out. Just those words, soft as silk, firm as forged steel. And then, the magic unfurls. Their smirk falters, like a glitch in their well-rehearsed routine. You've sidestepped the poison entirely, refusing to sip from their cup of chaos. No insults hurled, no frantic plea for validation, no dive into their rigged game of gotcha. Instead, you've held up that mirror, and in its gleam, they catch a glimpse of their own jagged edges. The sarcasm that once stung now echoes hollow in their ears, the weight of it settling like morning mist on their conscience. Why did I go there? What's really churning beneath this bite? You've deactivated the toxin not with a slap, but with a spotlight, inviting them to step into the light of their own making. It's straight out of the Stoic playbook, that ancient wisdom etched in marble and mindset. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who juggled legions and letters by lamplight, captured it perfectly. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Ah, what a gem! Revenge not as retaliation, but as radiance. This phrase? It's the living translation, a quiet rebellion that guards your inner citadel while nudging them toward their own. You hold your peace like a guarded flame, unflickered by the gale, and in that unyielding glow, you compel them to face the frost they've flung. No more hiding behind the haze of hostility. The script flips. The dynamic dances to your rhythm. Think about it. Have you ever watched a storm cloud pause? Heavy with rain but suddenly adrift? That's the shift here. When you defy the expected eruption, you rewrite the entire narrative. From brawl to breakthrough. This isn't for the faint of heart. The ones content to crouch and concede. It's for those who've drawn a line in the sand, vowing not to stoop to shadows, not to surrender their spark, and certainly not to let someone else's sour mood sketch their silhouette. The Stoics, those trailblazers of the soul over 2 millennia ago, mapped this terrain with unerring precision. Take Epictetus, born in chains yet forging freedom through philosophy, schooling Roman elites from a simple stool. His thunderbolt? It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Layers upon layers, like an onion peeling to the core of character. In the arena of arguments, that boils down to one crystalline truth. Victory isn't snatched with volume. It's sculpted with surgical strikes. You don't bellow to conquer, you carve with clarity. Each word a chisel chipping away at confusion. Marcus Aurelius didn't helm an empire by crumbling under critique. His throne was built on that bedrock of composure. A serenity sharper than any sword. Weak? Hardly. He knew the ultimate scepter was self-mastery. The one who tames the tempest within commands the one without. In our frenzy-fueled era, where knee-jerk retorts rack up likes and impulsive jabs go viral like wildfire. Stepping into the ring with intellect? You're the outlier, the enigma etched in memory, the one whose voice cuts through the clamor. Even when the chorus croons dissent, they lean in, not out of obligation, but out of awe. Seneca, that silver-tongued sage, drove it home with a warning as timeless as tide. To speak in anger is like shooting an arrow without aiming. One wild shot, and poof, bridges blaze. Doors slam like thunder. Respect evaporates like dew at dawn. A single slip can unravel threads woven over years, leaving you adrift in the wreckage of what was. So, no, these aren't barbs to belittle or boots to bury foes. They're your elegant arsenal, shields of sophistication to safeguard your sovereignty. Boundaries drawn in bold ink without a drop of blood. Whispers that hush even the harshest hecklers into hushed reverence. Because here's the heart of it. The pulse beneath the prose, when you wield words with that trifecta of clarity, calm, and conviction, the squabble dissolves. You're not sparring anymore, you're soaring. Conducting the chaos into cadence. Turning tumult into testament. The silence that follows? It's not surrender, it's symphony. The sweet hush before applause. And in that space, you've not just silenced the storm, you've summoned the stars. And speaking with that razor-sharp clarity and calm? It's the ultimate pivot, turning you from defender to director. Now, let's crank up the volume on how you enforce those boundaries with responses that don't just stop the chaos, but sculpt it into something sacred. Response 3. Let's talk when we can do it respectfully. But what happens when the dialogue devolves into a demolition derby? Words careening like unchecked bumper cars? Some exchanges aren't bridges to understanding, they're barricades. Thinly veiled assaults where interruptions crash in like uninvited guests. Voices climb like ivy on a crumbling wall. And there, truth, bulldozes yours without a backward glance. They expect you to strap in, rev your engine, and race to keep pace in this muddy melee. But here's the quiet revolution. You're under zero obligation to play in the dirt. This isn't a white flag of surrender. It's a velvet rope at the entrance to your arena. A bold banner waving your non-negotiables. Picture it unfolding like a scene from a tense indie film. The kitchen light flickers low. Steam rising from forgotten mugs as the argument hits fever pitch. They're barreling ahead, slicing your sentences mid-breath. Their tone a jagged edge scraping against your nerves. Your chest tightens. That familiar fork in the road, escalate and erupt. Or, you draw in a slow, grounding breath, the kind that roots you like an ancient oak in a squall. And meet their gaze with the steady glow of a lighthouse. Let's talk when we can do it respectfully. Click. The script stalls. No fireworks. No frantic footnotes. Just those words. Landing like a soft rain on parched earth. Shifting the spotlight from the squabble to the sanctity of the space. In that heartbeat, the axis tilts. The what of the fight fades into fog. It's all about the how now, the bare minimum blueprint for words worth weaving. This is self-mastery in motion. Straight from Epictetus's weathered scroll. You can't lasso the winds of others' whims. But you can captain your own sails. Choosing what storms you'll weather and which you'll wisely outrun. By dropping this line, you're etching that line in luminous ink. No bellows. No belabored lectures. Just a crystalline boundary that bounces the ball back into their court. What will they do with it? Often, nothing but hush. Because respect isn't a right, it's a rhythm they must match to stay in the dance. Lose the beat, and the music stops. You've elevated the exchange from ego brawl to potential harmony. And in the hush that follows, isn't it intoxicating to feel the power pulse back to you? Gliding right into response 4. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. There comes that fork where the road doesn't just fork, it forks into a dead end. A loop of lunacy where listening is a lost art. Understanding a unicorn, and victory their only North Star, even if it means scorching your spirit in the blaze. They're not bridging gaps, they're widening chasms. Every syllable a thorn dipped in disdain. Patience fraying like an old rope under relentless tug. Tempting, isn't it, to snap back, to fan the flames until the whole bonfire consumes you both? But imagine flipping the frame. This phrase becomes your elegant exit sign. Glowing softly in the smoke. Envision the standoff, a dimly lit living room. Shadows dancing on walls like uneasy spectators. Their provocations piling up like storm clouds refusing to break. Your jaw clenches, that inner volcano rumbling, but you exhale instead, channeling the poise of a swan gliding over ripples. Eyes level, voice even as a horizon line. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. Snap, the thread severs, not with a crash, but a clean, compassionate cut. Like pruning a wild vine to let light flood in. No pleas for pardon. No parade of excuses, it's a sovereign statement, reclaiming the reins in an instant. The toxicity? Nipped at the root, wilting before it can wrap tighter. And you? Suddenly, the air lightens, control cascading back like a cool wave over fevered skin. Marcus Aurelius, that philosopher king who stared down sages and scribes alike, whispered the wisdom here. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Pure gold, right? By opting out, you're not waving goodbye to grit. You're guarding your essence, the fierce focus. The unyielding energy, the dignity that no debate discount bin should diminish. This isn't defeat draped in diplomacy, it's discernment. A deliberate decree that your serenity trumps the siren call of, last word, glory. Witnesses to this grace? They don't see evasion, they witness ascension. You soaring above the fray like an eagle eyeing the horizon. It's akin to turning a key in a heavy oak door, sometimes. That resolute click echoes louder than any roar. The truest testament to a strength that's silent but seismic. And capping this arsenal with response 5. That's your opinion. And I respect it, but I don't share it. Not every clash is a Colosseum showdown with sworn foes at the gates, sometimes. The swords are sheathed in familiarity. The battle's blooming in the backyard of friendships. Where the fiercest debates often simmer not in the heat of enmity, but in the hearth of heartfelt connections with friends, colleagues, or family. Let's wrap this up by honing that final blade in your verbal vault. The one that honors their heart while guarding your own. Response 5. That's your opinion. And I respect it, but I don't share it. Picture the scene, soft as a sunset over familiar hills. A cozy couch in your living room. The scent of chamomile tea lingering like an unspoken truce, as a loved one leans in with that earnest gleam in their eye. They're not storming the gates with malice, no. Their intentions sparkle like morning dew, pure and well meant, but oh, how those good vibes can veer into velvet handcuffs, nudging you toward their version of the map, insisting you reroute your life's journey to match theirs. A career pivot they swear by, a holiday tradition etched in their stars. A worldview wrapped in the ribbon of, trust me, it's for your own good. Boundaries blur like watercolor in the rain. And suddenly, you're teetering on the edge of concession. That quiet voice inside whispering, do I bend, or do I break? This is your graceful anchor, dropped with the poise of a dancer mid-twirl. That's your opinion. And I respect it, but I don't share it. No thunderous clash of titans. No icy shutdown that chills the air like winter's first frost. It's a bridge, not a barricade, a gentle nod that says, I see you, I cherish this space we share, but my compass points true north, carved from my own clay. Envision it playing out, their words tumble forth, a cascade of conviction laced with love's quiet urgency, urging you to adopt their lens on life. You could dissect it like a debate club showdown, point by point until the evening unravels. Or swallow it silent, letting resentment brew like unspoken storm clouds. But instead, you meet their gaze, voice steady as a river's flow, warm as hearthfire. Those words, simple yet sovereign. And then, the alchemy begins, magic woven from maturity. Their push meets no pushback, no fertile ground for offense to take root. You've cradled their view like a fragile bird, acknowledging its wings without clipping your own. No dismissal. No door slammed in the face of their faith in you, just a reaffirmation. Luminous and unyielding, That your judgment is your jewel, polished by your path alone. It's the art of agreement without assimilation. Respect rendered radiant, as Seneca, that unflinching oracle of the inner realm, proclaimed with the clarity of a bell tolling at dawn. To be a slave to the opinion of others is the worst of all prisons. What a liberation, right? This phrase? It's the skeleton key, forged in the fires of self-sovereignty, unlocking those iron bars one conversation at a time. I think for myself. It whispers to the winds of influence. And your nod, while welcome, isn't my North Star. Wield it often, and watch the transformation ripple like stones skipped across a tranquil pond. Emotional independence blooms, a rare garden in a world of borrowed blooms, untouchable, unswayable, the kind that draws admirers like moths to a steady flame. Those who once prodded with persistence, they pause, recalibrate, their respect deepening like roots seeking richer soil. You've become the oak in the orchard, bending but unbroken, and in that stature, connections don't fray, they flourish, fortified by the freedom you've claimed. And there you have it, my friend, the full quintet of conversational conjurers. Not mere defenses but dynamos that fortify your core. 5 phrases, each a thread in the tapestry of triumph. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. That serene sentinel against the storm of shouts. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. The mirror that mends without marring. Let's talk when we can do it respectfully. The boundary drawn in benevolent ink. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. The door clicked with dignified resolve. And crowning it all, that's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it. The homage to harmony amid divergence. Don't whisper these under your breath like forgotten spells, embrace them. Etch them into your everyday lexicon, and witness the world warp in wonder. Spoken with that holy trinity of serenity, confidence, and crystalline clarity, they hush not through hammer blows, but through the quiet ascent of your spirit. You rise, not to crush, but to illuminate, inspiring awe where aggression once reigned. For true respect, it doesn't thunder from thrones of tyranny, it trickles like spring rain. Drawn inexorably to the character that stands tall, unbowed. Let me etch them once more into the ether. Like stars charting your course. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. Let's talk when we can do it respectfully. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. That's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it. Underestimate them at your peril. These aren't trinkets, they're talismans. Practice them in the quiet of your mirror. Deploy them in the din of daily duels. And soon, you'll sense the shift. Ears perk up where once they plugged. Steps lighten around your space like dancers respecting the stage. No longer the easy mark for manipulation's sly slight or provocation's prickly prod, your presence personified. Control incarnate, your voice a velvet thunder that commands without conquest. Here on Stoic Spring, we're all about distilling the timeless elixir of those philosopher kings. Think, speak, act with their unyielding wisdom, and watch respect cascade like a crown you never knew you craved. Inner peace settle like a soft snowfall. Mental fortitude rise like an unbreakable dawn. Hit that subscribe button like it's the key to your own empire. Toggle those notifications so you never miss the next nectar of insight, trust me. The journeys ahead? They'll reshape your reality, one resonant revelation at a time. Now, spill it in the comments below. Which of these gems is slipping into your arsenal first? The voice raiser's quietus, or perhaps that opinion honoring olive branch? I can't wait to cheer on your stories, drop them, share the spark, and let's build this community into a fortress of fearless fluency. You've got the words, now go weave some wonders.